Attack, shall we? DAG Battle Scout. Alright, we got Explosive Mastery, 29 health. Explosive is their really big damage. Mechanical is their healing. Time is their support. Works the same with all the other ones. It's how I kind of look at these cards. It's how my broad sense of how the cards, all the families or all the alignments work. So if you play 2 explosive cards in one turn, deal 1 damage to your target. It's fine. I mean, it's fine. With Explosive Mastery, you're going to want to lay 2 explosive cards in one turn anyway. This is going to be one of those very aggro cards that I'm not sure is going to be beneficial. It's not going to see a lot of play over the other ones that have been, because everyone that has been playing like Zuna or Tempest has been card draw, which is what you want in an aggro deck. You want card draw while dealing damage. This is one of those where I feel like it's gonna have benefits on a few turns where you're gonna play explosive, deal really burst damage and get that 1 poke damage in after a while. But then you're gonna be doing nothing. You're gonna be really feeling your hands. You're gonna be drawing these cards. So I feel like in first glance, you're gonna look at it and go, wow, I'm always gonna be playing 2 explosives because it's Explosive Mastery, dealing 1 extra push damage. It's gonna seem like it's really aggressive. But then it's like, okay, you do that for the first 2 turns, but then you got to draw. And then you got to draw again because you need to refill your hand to start utilizing her ability. Where after a while, you're only going to be playing like an explosive and a time, or an explosive and a mechanical, stuff like that, where you're not going to utilize her ability as much. And with a low health stat, with Explosive Mastery, I feel like there's just other cards that overpower her. And for her ability being base ability, for what it is, she really only reaches the 3-star mark for me. Like I said, at first glance, she seems like one of those heroes like, wow, you're always going to be laying explosive cards. You really push damage, increase your damage by 1 whenever you do this stuff. Play 2 explosive cards. Like, awesome, how can you not think this card is good? And it's because I'm thinking past turn 4 and 5. And, I mean, if you don't kill him by turn 4 or 5, mind you, Tech has very good ways of doing that. But a lot of the damage from Tech also comes from their time cards, from Looper, from Chronomoth, stuff like that recycles their hand. So you're not going to be consistently laying 2 explosive cards. So her ability, all of a sudden, as soon as you start looking at that in more of an in-depth way, doesn't really do a whole lot. And unless you're playing like a more late-game deck with explosive buffs and all this stuff to make it so the poke damage is worth it, the first glance doesn't make it seem like it wants to be an aggressive deck with her ability. You just want to be able to have really good turns where you lay 2 explosive cards, get that poke damage in there for whatever we want to do with poke damage, and that's how she's going to be played. And I think with a low starting health point, with that type, it's not going to be beneficial over a lot of the other tech cards, like Zuna, like Tempest, like all this stuff that allows you to draw cards. Like I said, I don't know about Kindred. Maybe Kindred has a lot more. I know the mechanical stuff is a lot of nice healing for rotation heals. So maybe you just have a lot of healing out there while you draw cards, you get your cards built up. Maybe she is going to be a really good hero. I don't know. But just from first glances, not looking at the whole set as a whole, just her hero, I'm rating her a 3-star. Because I feel like at first glance, she's, really good. Then you start taking a step back and wondering how your first 2 turns are going to play out, and you're not going to get as much benefit out of her ability as you would like to. I mean, that's my opinion. It's only 1 damage. Mind you, it is passive damage, so it's fine. But it's one of those where something like that is not going to benefit you as much as you want to look at her health pool and mastery. And when you start looking at just those 2 over her ability, there's going to be other cards or other heroes that have a higher health pool with Explosive Mastery that are going to help that deck run a little better. That's what I'm saying. I mean, she might even be down to like a 2.5, for all I'm aware. She might be lower than what I'm giving her credit for, just because of how certain tech decks are going to run. That's it. Deadeye Grima. Okay, so Mechanical Mastery, 30 health. Mechanical's defensive, healing, 30 health. Perfect. Awesome. Increase damage done with your items by 1 while you have 20 or more health. That already tells me this is going to be a fun deck to play. With Mechanical's all their healing, Mechanical's all their damage prevention. So basically what you're going to want to do is use Mechanical to heal yourself, keep yourself above 20, and use your item abilities to just go ham, just go nuts. And I think there's a lot of really fun item abilities in this new set to make it so that, hey, your items are going to be increased by 1. Mind you, you only get to use 1 ability a turn, but, I mean, even if there's items out there that say, hey, when you do something, this will deal, like, 1 or 2 damage to him, whatever. If it's passive, this will increase it to 3. Even if it's activated ability, like, all this stuff is going to make this be such a universally good card in any mechanical deck, or any tech deck, that, I mean, even if it doesn't utilize Mechanical a whole lot, her ability is a sound and solid ability. I think she's a 4-star card. Maybe even a 4.5, just because I don't know all the weapons offhand yet. I don't know all of how tech is going to work. Or even if you want to use the items to splash in other colors into this and make it a hybrid where her mastery supremacy doesn't even matter. Maybe you want to splash in nature and add in some forest. If the forest card is good, add in some healing that way. Basically, just make sure you're above 20, which is really weird for tech, because tech has always been, I want to be at 15 or below. I want to be at the low health. But this is like, well, you have 20 or more. So it's nice to see that tech is getting that other side of the spectrum where you want to be at a higher health to increase as opposed to being a lower health. So like it makes people want to push damage on you as opposed to always tech has been one of those where like, okay, I want to be able to put you down to 16 or 15 and then kill you in one shot so you don't get the benefits of all this from being low. This gives you benefits really early game, even late game if they can't do the damage to you. And that's why I think this is going to be a 4-star card, maybe even 4.5 depending on how people run it. But I think 4-star is my rating right now. Right at this given time, she's a 4-star card. I think she's worth crafting. Solid health pool, solid mastery, solid ability. She's all well-rounded, and I cannot wait to see what people come up with her. I think I'm going to come up with something really fun for her, too. So, Gatox the Reckless. Now, I think this is the hero from the starter deck. Explosive mastery, 30 health. Right off the bat, it's already better than that first one they've looked at. Ability, deal 3 damage to your target if you have a combo buff in play. Once again, it's an ability that you use, but it's 3 damage, which is really good. 3 damage abilities are really good, so it's already a solid ability. With all of these new mechanical or tech buffs that are coming into play now, I think this is going to be a really good card. I think this, honestly, is I'd say 4 to 4.5 star. I'll give it 4 point right now because I don't know all the new buffs that are coming to play for their combos. I don't know how mechanical is going to be running right now off of explosive. I've seen a lot of robot and stuff like that for the families in it, so people might be playing a lot more of the family. They might set this one aside because they don't want to go full aggro with explosive. But I think he has a very solid ability, very solid explosive mastery, makes you want to be a very aggressive person. And if his ability is just more damage while you have a combo buff in play, especially combo buffs that it's like, hey, you lay this, get an additional action. Cool. I lay a combo buff to get an additional action, use my ability because I now have a combo buff in play, boom, hit you for 3, like without even using a card. It's going to be a very good tempo game to push past while you have no cards in your hand after aggression. So I'm going to say 4-star card off of this one. Solid ability, solid health, solid mastery for what it wants to do. I think this card is going to see a lot of play in tech. And it's even one of those where you can splash it into any tech deck. It doesn't have to be a specific deck you build around. It's just a solid card. Pacemaker Brox. Mastery over time with 30 health. So far we're fine. I think this is the first time one I've seen that's from the new cards. Yep, it is. When you play 2 time cards in one turn, you may rotate an action buff on another hero 1 step forward or backward. This can only trigger once per turn. Right now, I'm going to say this is actually a pretty good card. Time is very supportive, so you're going to want to play, time and time cards over and over. Time also has some very good damaging cards with Chronomoth, with Looper, and all this other stuff. So, like, even with the time being supportive, there is some aggression, some card draw, all this stuff. And if you play 2 of them, you can rotate any other hero forward, back, or forward or backward 1. So it's anything that is board manipulation. I'm going to go ahead and say is really good. Because we've already seen people lay Fountain Time in almost all tech. Chrono Warper has been really good defensive on tech. Like anything where they're utilizing this kind of stuff where they're building up to a big turn. I mean, you think about it, when you play against Storm and they lay Storm Shaman, you're like, okay, rotate Storm Shaman forward 1. It's not now going to do anything. Your next turn it's going to fizzle. You didn't get the bonus for it. Along with Crystal Altar. Or not the Colossi Ritual Site. Rotate it, they don't get the benefit from it or the damage prevention. It's going to be one of those, like, the board manipulation on its own with support. I feel like this card is going to be a really, really interesting card to build. Now, I want to say it's I want to say this card is going to get a 4-star card, or 4-star rating for me. Because solid health pool, solid mastery over time, and just his ability being a passive one that allows you to... Sorry, one sec. That allows you to manipulate your opponent's board is just going to be really beneficial. I think it's going to be nuts, and I think that because of it, you're going to want to use this guy in, like, control leader matchups or tempo matchups or something like that. So he's going to be a very well-rounded card for me, and I think he's going to do really well. Rozo, no mastery and 28 health, so I mean his ability is going to be amazing. When you use an attack ability on an item while at 15 or less health, its effect triggers twice. That is nuts. I know for a fact there are items out there that it's like, hey, attack ability deal 3 damage, which means when you're below 15, And with no mastery, you don't care about using an ability and using a card. You never want to get that benefit from using 2 mechanical or 2 time. You're going to want to use an ability or an item's ability, and then lay a card or then draw. And having it triggered twice gets you 2 benefits out of that. Like, you can equip items just for their abilities with this card, which is what I really love to see out of cards that are like, before it was like, I want to use this item to add in this color to my deck to get that multicolor thing. But I mean, a lot of these cards they're adding in are just use the item ability for items. Like, that's it. That's all you want to do. It's going to be awesome. So I really think this guy's like, I want to say he's a 4-star card, honestly, because of all the ones that have really good attack abilities are going to have mastery, so they're harder to remove. They're going to trigger twice. Tech has always wanted to be below 15, so Tech is fine. Tech is fine being in that area. But, I mean, yeah, just having that amazing push damage late game while you do all this stuff, while you build your board with the cards, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy. You're going to want to play this card late game, use your items abilities to deal 6 damage, or just all this crazy stuff while they trigger twice. And it's attack abilities, so, I mean, there's going to be some really, really fun attack abilities that you're just going to want to hammer with damage after you use your cards, like your attack cards or buffs that are dealing the damage, like finishing damage, which I think Tech didn't really have a problem with before, but depending on how you lay, this means that you don't have to lay as many attack cards. You can put in defense or buffs cards to heal or prevent, and just have your items push for the damage that your attack cards that you took out for. Like, that's what this is all about. So I think that guy's a really solid card. I'm going to have a lot of fun with him. I hope you guys are too. I'm giving him a 4-star rating because I think he has strong potential to climb ladder with, depending on the weapons that you equip with him. Slacks the Eternal. Time Mastery, 30 health. Perfect, we'll go with that. Store expired time buffs under this card. Awesome, awesome. Anything with storing under a hero I think is going to be really good. Ability, move the stored cards to your deck. What? Okay, this is a bit nuts. I don't know what time buffs got in Kindred, but literally if you just store expired time buffs and then move them back to your deck, all it is, okay, I'm storing it, move them back to my deck so I can use them again. That's going to be nuts. I know they added a lot of burn to a lot of the really good time ones, but he's just consistent card regeneration. Your time buffs, unless they kill him, are always going to go back into your deck. So depending on what time has, especially if it's like just consistent damage, he's going to be amazing. He's going to be so strong in time-heavy decks, which is what he is. He might even get a 5-star rating for me, just because, I mean, just his ability is move those cards back to your deck. That's it. That's all you needed from him. You didn't need to, say, move one of the 2 back and deal something. No, you just move all of them back to your deck. So your opponent really has to think about it. Okay, my buff removal needs to be on your time cards. Cool, you go ahead and remove my time buffs. I'll have my explosive buffs, which are dealing massive damage to you, stay out. Cool beans, yo. I'll just continuously do this stuff, and if they don't remove them, shuffle them back in your deck, do them again. This guy is going to have such a fun way of playing that I give him a 5-star, because he's so cyclical, so just annoying that you have to deal with him early, or he's going to perpetually just keep killing you because of the fact that he can't be milled, in a sense. I mean, you can try, but he's always going to put his cards back into his deck. They're never going to go to his discard pile. They're always going to go under him, and then he's just going to keep moving them back. They're always going to keep going back, which also means that the time cards, if you want time for some reason in your discard pile, they're going to have to be attack or defend. But who cares? Buff regeneration, buff cyclical stuff is so good that I found that people broke the store cards to return them back to their hands to keep playing them again, that this guy's just going to be ridiculous. I'm going to give him a 5-star. This guy's going to be one of the top tech cards to look out for, in my opinion. He's so good. Trigux Iron Scale. Explosive Mastery, 30 health. Okay. Ability, discard 1 explosive card to deal 4 damage to your target and 1 damage to yourself. This cannot be increased by effects. I mean, just based on what Astral and Awakening did for explosive, all the explosive cards did 5 or 6 damage on its own. So discarding it for 1 less and 1 damage to you, I mean, he could be run in a good deck. I know, was it Contra Bubble? All the damage you deal to yourself heals you. So maybe he has his own type. Maybe there's a lot of explosive cards out there that do minimal damage, and you really want to just ditch them for 4 and deal 1 to yourself, getting yourself below 15 to use other stuff. I feel like he's a really interesting archetype. I just don't know too much about it, which is why you want to discard an explosive card that potentially deals more for 4 damage. Like if it was discard a tech, or not a tech, a mechanical, that'd be awesome, because all mechanical's healing. That'd be great. This card would be so much powerful than it is. But I think that just because of explosive, mind you, it's not bad. I mean, you're essentially losing 1 damage, and you're taking that 1 damage for tech is kind of what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and give this guy a 3-star rating. I feel like he's one of those heroes that's a filler for a deck that can be replaced in and out for anyone just to kind of see how the deck is doing and whatnot. But he's not really a hero that, mind you, with the explosive cards, could be that good. I could be mistaken. He could be like a 4 or 5-star rating card because a lot of the explosive, like Craze Bomber, maybe you're never going to want to use it. Craze Bomber now suddenly becomes a 4 damage card. I don't know. But just as I'm seeing with all the other explosive cards that I've seen in the past, have always been 5 or 6 damage. Really has no problem getting hit with tech. So right now his ability, it doesn't seem that extremely powerful. But then again, anything where you can utilize any card for damage is going to be good. So maybe he'll go to 3.5. He'll bump up above 3, but he doesn't have that much impact on the game that I would have liked to see in a card like this. Cassini is really good, 3 damage, so I could be completely wrong. But that was any card. This is specifically explosive. So that's where I'm kind of wavering my thought process on that. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's it for tech, guys. We're going into Mythical. There's 9 more cards. Then I'll be done for the stream. So bear with me as we go through these last 9 heroes. I'm kind of giving this short break because I want to break this up into little segments and do highlight videos so that people who just want to see the certain heroes can do that. Yada, yada, yada. So we will start going into the Mythical right now. Let's get started.